This weekend on the original Rochester Press Box, presented by the mighty Genesee Brew House.
I'm Pat Duffy from the Breakroom on CMF. I'm telling you why I'm going to the bank, taking out all my money, and giving it to the Buffalo Sabres.
I'm Dave Yates from the Vision High School Sports Beat, and I'll tell you how the Bills are going to do down in Miami.
And I'm Mike Catalana. Breaking news, Duffy's wrong.
I'm Bill Pucko, dealing with the daily fantasy leagues. Join us this weekend on the original Rochester Press Box. The Brew House was created to capture and share with you the long history of the Genesee Brewery. But the brewery itself isn't half as interesting as the beer and the people who make it. Visit GeneseeBrewHouse.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome into the original Rochester Press Box, presented, as always, by the mighty Genesee Brew House. We will be on location at the Brew House next week. If you want to stop by, watch the show being produced there. We'll be recording at 12:30, as we do every week. So it'll be nice to be back there. Our panel this week, it is great to welcome back to the media Dave Yates, who's working with the East Irondequoit School District as the newest contributor to the Vision High School Sports Beat. It's great to have you back in the mix, man.
Thanks, Bill. It's kind of weird. It's like deja vu all over again.
To quote the
exactly.
late, great Yogi Berra. Very nicely done. Mike Catalana from 13 WHAM News, I co-host, and Pat Duffy returns from the Breakroom. Pat, nice to have you back.
You're welcome.
Let's get to it. You know, the whole DraftKings. I'm sure you participate. You know, being the degenerate gambler that you appear to be. Look, this thing is everywhere. The colleges are concerned about it. Major League Baseball is it's growing. It's clearly gambling. What do we make of it, and where's it headed?
I think that you bring up the concern. First of all, I haven't done it because I'm such a degenerate gambler. I'm afraid to do it. I know the second I do it, I won't be able to stop. But you say this concern. I think the concern is BS from all parties involved, whether it's the MLB and NCAA, and I'll tell you why. They're making money for all of these leagues. You know how much money the NFL is making? And credit to the NFL for finally getting on board with something. Listen, they've got us. We're diehard football fans. They're going to have us for forever. I'm never going to stop watching football. It's those fringe guys, it's my wife, that are now going to watch every football game and watch every ad that they run during those football games because of these one-day fantasy leagues. You can't get bored with it. Your season doesn't end. I mean, is it illegal? Is it gambling? Maybe, but let them make their money until they figure out if it is or not.
Yeah, have any of you guys done it?
I haven't.
No.
That surprises me. I haven't either.
No, but here's the thing. What Pat's talking about, too, is, one, these leagues are concerned because they aren't getting a chunk of it yet, or they haven't figured out a way. But the NFL benefits from it. And I'll give you an example of it. I don't play those leagues, but I have one fantasy team. I've been in for 30 years with my buddies from college, whatever we've been playing. And it keeps me, the end of the Pittsburgh-New England game to start the season. Now, I was working anyhow and paying attention, but I really wanted to pay attention in the fourth quarter because I wanted to see if Roethlisberger got me another touchdown at the end of the game. Believe me, when you talk about those numbers from the NFL, when you're invested in these leagues and you're into it week in, week out, even the Thursday night, even a lousy game, you got somebody in the game or your opponent does, and it's keeping people in. It's keeping the TV numbers up. It's keeping the interest up in otherwise relatively meaningless games, and they're all getting a piece of it. And they'll each find a way to grab a hold of it and get more out of those leagues.
Confession, I've never played a fantasy football league.
Wow.
You're in the minority.
I am in the vast minority. I know. I don't know what's wrong. Because I think I think I don't want to be a degenerate like you. Because I'm really
fires the first shot.
No, it's a fair shot.
I'm really
And
worried
also he
that
doesn't want to gamble.
if I get going, and sometimes I'll just kind of like, I play him or whatever, and I'm horrible.
Yeah.
And people just assume, the background and what I've done, that I'm horrible at it. Absolutely horrible.
Does this change the landscape?
Absolutely.
Does this do anything long term?
Absolutely, because Mike, you brought up, the NFL hasn't gotten a piece of it yet. Well, they have. If you walk into Ralph Wilson Stadium, there is a giant 3-panel billboard that says DraftKings or FanDuel, whatever. Right. They also sponsor one of the screens there. I mean, the NFL is making direct money on advertising from these people. And yes, I think that you see numbers grow in a time where they didn't think that numbers could grow in America for the NFL. It's amazing how they keep finding ways to benefit off of bringing people in.
Well, they jumped on board just with fantasy football in general when they went to NFL.com, and they really pushed it.
This is the original Rochester Press Box presented by the Genesee Brew House. We'll be back and talk NFL football and the Buffalo Bills next. The Buffalo Bills quote of the week was brought to you by the Rochester Geico office. Give the Rochester Geico team a chance to see how much you could save on all your insurance needs. Call or stop by the office on West Henrietta Road, open Monday through Saturday. Welcome back to the original Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brew House. Our quote of the week from Rex Ryan is brought to you by Geico Rochester on the West Henrietta Road. Mike, what do you think?
I think it's accurate. I hope it's not, because I think Rex can evolve a little bit. He talks about the emotion. I like your team playing with emotion, but I wish he would say more of, you know what, we played with too much. We can learn. And I hate to say it, we can learn from those guys. You're never going to be the Patriots.
This portion of the original Rochester Press Box is presented by the Hillside family of agencies. By the way, the Hillside people picking these games are 4-0 so far in the season, which is pretty impressive. Let's talk about the Bills. The setup for the Miami game, how do you see things going down there?
I like them down there. I think they will learn from last week, because I think a lot of the mistakes that they made and the stupid mental errors are something that were so avoidable that I think overcoming that, I think they're a better team than the Dolphins. I think they'll take care of business.
You've got to pick. Want to pick a score?
I'll take the Bills 24-17.
Pat?
I'm not worried at all. I don't know. I really hate everybody this week. I hate everybody because we had 6 months of this is going to be the greatest team in the history of the world, right? Opening night, this is the greatest team in the history of the world. One game where we had the ball in a possession with 1:30 left against the Patriots, and everything that could have went wrong, went wrong. 100 yards and personal foul penalties. Brady torches us for a team record. And we still had the ball with a possession to go in 1:30. Buffalo wins, and Buffalo wins big in Miami. I'm going 29-10 Buffalo.
No kidding. I think it's a perfect setup. I mean, both teams got slapped hard last week, so they come into Miami almost on even turf.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting game. I think this is a very, very big game for the Bills, because if you win, it's fantastic. You're 2-1, you're 1-1 in the division, you get through this tough 3-game stretch. The New England game just becomes a loss. You lost to New England. Everybody does it, right? You lose to New England. You lose this game, now you're 0-2 in the division, feeling a little down about yourself. I like them going down there. I like them winning the game. I do think they're a better team. I will disagree on one thing. I think it's a little too optimistic to take the view you were 1 score down at the end of the game. They were, and that was strictly because of Belichick's arrogance during that game. But it almost cost him. No, if New England would have done the smart thing and run the football, Bills never would have gotten those chances. I love that Tyrod didn't quit, but Tyrod and the offense were the reason the team was getting pounded in that game. I'm not totally blaming him. But through 3 quarters, they were getting pounded. They were outplayed in that game, overmatched in that game. And Rex said it afterward. Sometimes it's not as good as you think. Sometimes it's not as bad as you think. He said this was as bad as we think. And I think they should approach it that way. They were lucky to be within that 1 score. It was New England's arrogance that put the Bills there. They know they did not play well. The defense got crushed in that game.
Do it quick.
Crushed. You want to talk about lucky? Let's talk about lucky. They started, other than the opening drive, their opening drives inside the 35, the Patriots, 3 times. 3 times. You give Brady the ball inside 35, they're going to score 3 touchdowns. That's not going to happen.
Was it some league rule?
But I'm saying that's not going to happen every week. Freak bounces off hands. And by the way, you talk about arrogance. People are saying they ran up the score because Rex was talking the way he was.
Run up the score.
And you know what happened?
They didn't do it.
They almost lost the game.
That's what I said.
Because Rex was talking junk.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. He can't hear me from over here. I'm saying it was Belichick's arrogance and stupidity almost got his quarterback killed.
Okay.
And it hurt them.
But it didn't, because his arrogance was the reason the Bills got to fight back in that game, because Brady was back to pass when he coughs that ball up, which puts them within a possession with a buck and a half.
The Bills played lousy. They know they played lousy. The defense got embarrassed in that game. And Tyrod got sacked 8 times and threw 3 interceptions. I know they're better than that. They better be better than that, because if they're not better than that, they're not beating Miami and they're not going to the playoffs this year. They're a better team than they played. They were lucky to be in that game. They know it. And he even knows it. And
it didn't feel like it was as close as it was at the end.
Sure, but I mean, what win does? What win feels? Listen, I didn't realize what was happening either until we got there and we're within the thing. But those last 4 minutes were the best 4 minutes of football I've really watched all season. Any game I could see. Buffalo furiously fighting back. The Patriots still trying to maintain arrogance, yet knowing that this game was slipping out of their hands. I enjoyed it. I had fun.
I've never understood why Belichick leaves Brady in all the time.
Yeah.
He leaves him in way too long, no matter the situation, and I'm just waiting for it to come back and cost him.
You're right. Not only did he leave him in the game, no backs in there. They're snapping the ball with 16 seconds on the clock, 0 backfield. He got crushed when he fumbled that ball. Easily could have been a play. He got hurt. Arrogance on Belichick's part because he was trying to. To the Bills' credit, they didn't let him run it up. I mean, they didn't just sit back and they kept fighting. but they played lousy up until that point.
Mike's been our top picker so far. On behalf of Classy Wolf Media, we'll be making a $1,000 donation to the Hillside family of agencies in the name of the top picker, which is so far 3-1.
And I say I like the Bills. I like the Bills to win the game by a touchdown. I'm with Dave on that, right around 24-17.
Okay, we're all on the same page. The line went from 2.5 to 3. I've got Buffalo 2. Quickly, secondary game for you.
Bears are getting 14 points in Seattle. What are you, nuts? Take all the new money you have, put it on the Bears. They're not giving up 14 to Seattle.
Mike?
I'm going the exact opposite game of him, which kind of makes sense.
Of course you are.
Only because Seattle is embarrassed through 2 games. Chancellor's coming back whether he plays or not. And Jimmy Clausen is starting the game for. This is where Seattle, for at least a game, I don't know if they'll be there all year, puts that dominance back in effect and maybe shuts the Bears down. I won't say shuts them out, but they'll win that game like 27-3.
Secondary game?
Patriots by 13.5.
Yeah.
I'm taking them.
Boy, taking the big
I'm
favorites.
taking the big favorite on that one. I think they're going to be ticked off for having such a close game, and I think that arrogant Bill's going to run it off.
I'm pandering to my co-host. I'm taking the Eagles playing at the New York Jets and getting some points. DeTulio is 2-2 on the year, is taking the Bills, so we sweep the panel, and he's also taking the New York Giants, giving points to Washington. As far as the Hillside family of agencies pick of the week, we go to John Trahey, the staff supervisor of the Hillside Work Scholarship Connection. They're 4-0 this year. They're taking the Bills +3, and the Patriots, along with Dave Yates, -13.5 against Jacksonville, trying to stay unbeaten. That's the Hillside picks this week. This portion of the original Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brew House, is brought to you by the Hillside family of agencies. Like it or not is next. As we go to break, it is time for the Turnbull Heating and Air Conditioning Trivia Question of the Week. When you're searching for a local heating and air conditioning contractor, look no further than one of the most reliable teams in the area at Turnbull Heating and Air Conditioning. Is called Turnbull at 343-2005. As we come back from the break, time for the answer to the Turnbull Heating and Air Conditioning Trivia Question of the Week. When you're searching for a local heating and air conditioning contractor, look no further than one of the most reliable teams in the area at Turnbull Heating and Air Conditioning. Just call 343-2005. Welcome back to the original Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brew House. This portion of the Press Box is brought to you by Amtrak Trains. Enjoy the journey. Like it or not, Ryan Fitzpatrick and the New York Jets and what he's doing.
I've always liked Fitzpatrick. I mean, he tends to be one of those guys that will. It's like he's almost like a major league pitcher that all of a sudden they figure him out, and he's kind of like he gets that niche going, and he's hot for a while. Then all of a sudden it's like, well, he's not really that good, and I think his beard gets too long, and I think it might start pushing up into his eyes, and he's just not seeing well enough or something. But he's fun to watch. He really is.
Will the real Ryan Fitzpatrick?
Yeah.
Who is he?
It's just a matter of when it shows up. Now, I will say this. He's got a really good defense around him. He's got some good players, skill guys around him. And if he were to maintain, what he's done so far, he'd be fine. I think there should be a Hall of Fame exhibit for Fitz, to be honest with you. I really do think a guy with his skill level, the fact that he started so many games in the NFL for so many teams, is a testament to his smarts and how well he adapts and how well he can play for moments. It's just how long can he stretch the moment out for him? Everybody, who doesn't like Fitz? Everybody likes Fitz. I wish he would have still stayed with the Bills, but I think it'll happen for him probably sooner rather than later.
Speaking of guys that you have to like it or not, the late, great Yogi Berra.
Well, obviously, I don't like that he died. I'm sad about that. I don't like that. But, I mean, what's sad this morning is realizing that as much as I'm a Yankee hater, all those Yankee legends are gone, man. He was the last connection to the greatness of the Yankees in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and it's gone. So all that wise talk and all those great stories, now we have to rely on the internet and the Yes Network and all that stuff, and that's kind of sad.
It's funny to me. It was like I thought first of George Burns. George Burns lived to be 100, but when he was 100, I thought, he's never going to die. Yeah. He's going to live to 150. That's the same way about Berra. He's 90 years old, and I was shocked that he died.
And the thing about him is he's this unassuming guy, funny and whatever. And the nice thing now, as he passes away, is people are looking back on his unreal career in baseball, a unique career. So many winners, His statistics were great, played 2 positions, so many years, an all-star. Like the World Series just became part of his life every year. He was a great player and an unbelievable persona for a guy that's this little, like they'd say, I'm just this little dumpy guy, and look at what he ended up becoming.
And that's the crazy thing about it is you think of him as the personality first before the player. He was like Bob Uecker who could play. he actually was a great baseball player. And you look and he wasn't just a catcher. And that's the crazy thing. He played the outfield for years too.
It's fine. Everyone remembers the quotes. It was one that I had seen this morning that I hadn't seen before. Yogi Berra said, "Always go to someone else's funeral or they won't go to you." Or something along those lines. That was pretty darn close. We're going to miss Yogi Berra. This portion of the original Rochester Press Box presented by the Genesee Brew House was brought to you by Amtrak. Enjoy the journey. Unfinished business is next. The Rochester Press Box Stat of the Week, brought to you by Cariglio's Pizza, with 5 locations serving the Rochester area. Visit carigliospizza.com today. Welcome back to the original Rochester Press Box presented by the Genesee Brew House. This portion of the Press Box brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. Unfinished business. Dave.
Thanks, Bill. It's odd to be back in the quote-unquote media as it is right now. I got out right when social media was starting to take off. That's when I kind of got out of the television business. And I'm kind of glad I did because the immediacy of it, I think, is kind of a good and a bad thing. Things have changed a lot. It's interesting now to start to have to pay more attention and not just be a fan, but kind of look at things from a different perspective and a different lens. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to be back, and I want to thank you for having me.
What do you got?
I am so excited. We're back. Sabres are back. Hockey's back. And we go from the worst hockey team in the NHL last year to the potential to be a top 5 hockey team in the East this season. We're talking O'Reilly, Eichel, Kane, Reinhart, Giunta, Gergensons. Guys like Kane, I'm running out of time to mention people here. How does GMTM, General Manager Tim Murray, work his magic and take a roster like we saw last year, guys that will never play in the NHL again, guys who are great dudes but have no business playing on an NHL team, and move it to the point where they had to cap season ticket sales again, and how I want to give them all of my money to see all of the games this season. If the Buffalo Sabres make the playoffs this year, every 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old kid that are watching these games are hooked for life. And you know what? It's not totally out of the question. A year after being the worst team in the league.
It's funny. I always have a difficult time with the sliding of the schedules. It doesn't sound like you do. Like it's not really hockey season yet, but you sound ready to go.
I was watching that game Monday night. It wasn't on television. I had to listen to it on our sister station, WGR in Buffalo, through my phone on the app, and I was jumping up and down when Jack Eichel scored a shorthanded preseason goal to win the game.
As much as this pains me to say this, I think we need more people like you.
I agree.
That's got to hurt.
That really is the quote of the day in many ways. An anniversary is coming up this weekend, as a matter of fact, in sports. It was 1 year ago this weekend that the Patriots of 2014 were declared dead. You remember it. They went into Kansas City and got smoked in a primetime game, and all the experts around the league, a few weeks into the season, dead and buried. Brady's done. Belichick has lost it. The era is over. Who's going to be next? Well, we know how the season ended up turning up, and they ended up winning the championship. Now, I don't know many people that enjoyed seeing that, but my point about it is do not overreact. 2 games into it, 3 games into it, even a month into the season, it's too early to make long-term decisions. Pat talked about in the beginning, 1 game in, everybody thinks the Bills are the greatest. They lose the second game, everybody wants to jump off the ship. My own team, the Eagles, abysmal through 2 games. But a year ago, they were 5-1. They were 9-3 and fell apart when it mattered the most. 8, 9, 10 games into a season, you can make some idea of what a team's going to be. 2 games in, good or bad, hold on making the big predictions because we saw what happened a year ago this week when we killed off the Patriots.
This portion of the original Rochester Press Box has been brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. We thank all our great sponsors for this program, especially the mighty Genesee Brew House. And again, we will be there next week, recording on Wednesday at 12:30. You're welcome to come down and see us. Dave, welcome back. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Bill.
We'll do
Appreciate
this
it.
again. Mike, good job.
Thank you.
Mr. Duffy,
When you guys are ready for me to take his full-time spot, you got my number.
always a pleasure. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week at the Brew House on the original Rochester Press Box.